Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Performance E streaming for the ANZCAR Fun Day. Yes, it is the Xfinity cars here for bringing us the Fun Day here at Richmond, West Virginia. Joining me up here in the booth is myself, Mr. Carl Wilkinson, and Mark Johansson. Mark, how you going, mate?
Good, mate. Good to be back here, and good to hear your voice back on the airways again this week. So, it'll be interesting here tonight. Tight little bull ring, and we'll see how we go.
No, absolutely. And joining us here at Strawberry Hill is Mr. Matty Hunter as well. Matt, how you going, mate?
Yeah, going good. Good to be here, and we've all got our bits in for cautions tonight. So, let's see how many cautions we get in tonight on the short track. Hopefully, none.
That's it. Hopefully we go green from start to finish and we're all surprised. But I don't think any of us are expecting it. Qualifying is just kicking off now. Cars heading out on track for that. But before we jump to anybody, we'll quickly just run through the championship standings. It's Jason Martin in at the lead of the championship with Darren McKenzie 5 points behind. McKenzie jumping up the leaderboards after a good win at COTA. Josh Mickelmore sits in third place, 7 points off the lead. 46 points down is Joshua Carroll-Walden in fourth position. 54 points down in fifth is Maddie Ray. 65 points down, Brad Fenley in sixth. Seventh is Dave Douglas, and he is 66 points off the lead. 71 points down in eighth position is Norman Clark. Jai Schultz in ninth, 75 off the lead. And Sean Decay in 10th with 75 points behind the leaderboard. We're looking at a relatively cool night here. 21 degree track temperature, 20 degree air temperature. That's going to help people out a bit here, Mark, because short track racing can really chew up those tyres.
Yeah, with the cooler track temps, it's definitely going to help those right side tyres, especially the right front end. He's the one that seems to hurt. But with, as I said, with such a cool track, they may be able to push a little bit harder. But then again, it is a long race, so you definitely don't want to burn off your tyres and have to go into the pits and make some any more than one tyre change than what you need to. So just keep an eye out for guys just taking it a little bit easier and trying to stretch those tyres.
No, that is very true. Just getting those tyres working. Of course, limited to 4 sets of tyres in the race itself. So that keeps people down on tyres. Got Jason Martin just heading out on track for his qualifying run now in the 21 Purple Mitch Motorsport entry. And he's going to be wanting to have a good run out here tonight after, well, a really good run at COTA. Just unfortunate at the end to cop a penalty and cost him the race win. But we're coming up to his first lap here at Richmond, up high, coming in nice and tight for the corner hinge. Jumps down, just keeping as close to the line as possible on the gas out of turn 2. Short little straight here. It's a D-shaped oval. Gets close to the wall, comes up a little bit higher this time round. Takes that nice high line round for the D section so he can get on the power up against the wall as close as possible. And that's going to jump Jason up into P15. I reckon this second lap might be his fast lap, as he's trying to get those tyres just in the right operating temperature, getting up to speed here, up to turns 3 and 4 again. He drops down nice and low this time, uses all the power on the car, loops up a little bit wider, and loses the rear end on the exit there. Jumps him up to P4, but I've seen a few drivers just struggling on the D section of this track on that start-finish, I've forgotten the name for it. That section, though, a lot of drivers just having the back end kicking out. It's Adam Malone currently sitting in Luke Trahair currently sitting in first at the moment, in pole position. Adam Malone just in second.
Yeah, some names up there that we haven't seen there for a while. Phil Bassett's up into the top 10. Jai Schultz has got himself up into ninth position at the moment. So it'd be interesting to see how he goes with starting off the pointy end or the front end of the field.
Absolutely. Sometimes it can be a bit of a blessing to start a bit higher up in the field here at Richmond, because if an accident happens in the mid-pack or a bit below, you can kind of avoid some of those incidents. So we'll expect to see that here. Big thing for pit stops, of course, here at Richmond is it's going to be more about tyre wear than fuel, of course. On a short track, these cars generally get the mileage to pretty much make it to the end with barely needing a stop. They might have to come in around about lap like 80 or 90 or so. just to get a bit of a top up of fuel for the end. But it's more the tyre wear that's going to be the key factor in the pit stop race. As we said, they got 4 sets of tyres for the race. They start on a set and then get 3 sets to change through, so you don't want to use them up too early and blow through those sets too quickly. About to start lining up on the grid now. So it is Luke Traher taking pole position tonight in the way down 43. He's going to be happy with that one. It's nice to see him up on pole. Adam Malone is outside. Row 2. It's a Mitch Motorsport lockout with Micklemore and Martin side by side. Third row, we see Darren McKenzie with Phil Bassett. On the 4th row is Georgeson and Williams. Row number 5, we have Jai Schultz with Andy Barber. 6th row is Kai Turner and Norman Clark. Paul Drady and Mirko Dortnack flying up the 7th row. 8th row, Sean Decay and Michael Campbell. Barry Neal lines up next to Nigel Patton in 9th. 10th row sees Dave Douglas and Mark Smith next to each other. Tristan Koch, Brad Fenley are next up on row number 11. And then we come to our did not qualify. So Ruben Phelps, Ryan Jones, Perry Anastakis, Aidan Schultz, Maddie Ray, Kobe Jordan, Christopher Tomlin, Paul Jackson, Nod Tompkins and Brett Campbell rounding out the field in the Golden Octopus enter the Golden Octopus number 15. So a lot of cars on track here tonight. We've got 32 cars out there. And, well, on a track that is only 1.2 kilometers in length, only about 0.75 of a mile. It's a very short track, and it's very quick to get up to the cars that are a little bit slower on track for those leaders.
Yeah, definitely. I reckon within depending on how these back guys go and how quick they can get away, probably 10 to 15 laps that you may see these front guys that are short track specialists starting to catch those rear end guys. But in saying that too, if we have any early cautions, that could all change things.
Absolutely. They are going to be hoping that we can make it with a green flag from start to finish, of course. But, well, short track racing, not as easy to do. But they are just pulling away now, and we'll be starting to form up behind the pace car, getting ready for the start here at Richmond. Who's your eye on tonight, Mark?
Oh, look, I got to keep my eye on the teammates. Paul Drady in the 129, Mark Smith in the 007, and Phil Bassett in the 30 Lucas Oil cars, mate. So any one of them I'd be happy with. But in real honesty, those Mitch boys on that second row, if they can get out front early, they are going to be hard to beat.
All right, I'm keeping my eye a little bit further back. Ryan Jones, Ruben Phelps, those two going to be quite quick here tonight. Ruben Phelps officially started his 200th race tonight. It's kind of 200 on Monday, but officially 200 tonight for him. So he's going to hope to have a good 200. So hopefully we won't put too much of a curse on Rubes there. I'm sure if anything happens now, he'll blame me for it. Pace car will be coming. It's always my fault. Yep. Pace car will be pulling in very, very shortly. Get 2 laps under the pace car tonight with the warm-up. And look, drivers might just be dragging their brakes a little bit, trying to get a little bit of temperature into the tyres, a little bit of temperature into the brakes as well, because you have to use those brakes through the first couple of corners. Pace car pulls in. Luke Traher is going to be leading us off here for Richmond. It's round number 7 of the Fonda Championship, and we go green tonight. As we cross the line and get the first lap underneath our belts, it's Luke Traher leading the field at the moment, and everybody has gotten away cleanly in the backpack as well. Good to see. Lots of racing going on, lots of people trying to chop and change, trying to find the best positions to get in. A little bit further down the field, Stevie Double looking to make a little bit of a move, but everybody else up the front sort of single file at the moment. Just trying to keep that single line going, of course. when you're on a short track like this, if you have to chop and change lines constantly and have to run at the not preferred line, it can hurt your tyres a little bit later in the stint, of course. So trying to keep on that best line is always a good idea. A bit of a move there by the 270 on Darren McKenzie. Jai Schultz having a good run there, just working his way up the field, up 3 positions from the start. So a lightning fast start there for Jai.
Yeah, definitely great to see him starting to turn his luck around. He hasn't had much luck the last 2 weeks, along with Kobe Jordan has had a terrible couple of weeks. So it's good to see Jai starting to move up.
Adam Malone there just dropping down a little bit as he just got a bit loose in the mid-corner, had a little bit of a slap there and just had to re-centre the car, but no harm, no foul. The car's looking good still. He just lost a little bit of momentum there. And as you know, in a stock car, momentum is king on a track like this, and it can cost you a couple of positions when that happens.
Yeah, definitely not what you want to do, especially at a short track. It's not so much as bad on a big track, the 1.5s, because you can kind of sort of get that momentum going again fairly quick, so long as you don't lose that pack. But here you've really got to slow right down. I'm just watching further in the pack here, and a couple of the boys down the back markers are starting to rub that outside wall a little bit, starting to get a bit too close to it.
Yeah, a few drivers, I've seen a couple of little puffs appearing down the pack side by side at the moment between Ryan Jones and Mirko Dortnack there, racing hard just behind Tristan Koch, having a nice run through the field. This is the battle for 20th and 21st. And the drivers that decided not to qualify, biggest mover at the moment is Ruben Phelps. He's just a little bit further ahead in P18. He's up 5 positions from the start, so he's working his way quickly through the field in that SRM machine. Driver to watch out for as well, a little bit further ahead, teammate, the 22 here, Barry Neal. He is very quick on these short tracks. Just gets close to the wall there. He might just have a little bit of a rub there, but Barry can be very quick on these short tracks and also keep his tyres alive in a longer stint. So watch for Barry in the latter stages of this stint. Up the front, Luke Traher is starting to pull out a fair bit of a gap. He's 0.7 ahead of Josh Micklemore at the moment. Micklemore is leading the rest of the charge with Jason Martin. Luke Georgeson up in P4 at the moment. Nice run for Luke there. He's having a good run in the Area 51 entry. Just ahead of Adam Malone, Jai Schultz, Darren McKenzie, Phil Bissett, Kai Turner and Andy Barber. So quite a lot of racing going on a bit further down the field as well. Quite a little bit of side-by-side action down towards the back of the pack as people are trying to work their way through. I was watching, as we see here, Brad Fenley just up high, just getting passed by Tristan Koch and one of the inside lane cars.
I think it's Kobe, mate. It's either Kobe or Christopher Tomlin.
It's trouble when we have teams out there with similar colours and you miss the numbers. Aidan Schultz here with Tristan Koch having a little bit of a run as well, but everybody's sort of falling into that single file sort of drive at the moment. But up the front, it's gone a little bit cramped as Luke Georgeson's just had a little bit of rubbing from Adam Malone. That's driven him high up on the outside. And that's cost him a handful of positions there as a few drivers get past him. And I'm sure he'll put that one in his memory bank and remember Adam Malone if he gets next to him again in this race.
Yeah, definitely. It's one thing that you can do here is do a little bit more rubbing, and some guys will be able to handle it, but other guys will find themselves getting very close to that outside wall.
Yeah, it's so easy to do, just to take a little snag off the wall. Obviously, running close to the wall is the fastest way around the track as well, so you've got to take that bit of a risk as you're going around. There's Darren McKenzie makes the move on Jai Schultz there. and you have to make that little bit of bravery to get up close to the wall, because it gives you that little bit more time in hand and can be the difference between leading the race and falling back. Speaking of leading the race, the lead has dropped up the front. Luke Traher has now got Jason Martin in his mirrors, and he'll be keeping an eye on that purple car, just trying to get an idea where it's going to sit in the corner coming up. Will Jason make a little bit of a dive here or there? And you've got to always keep an eye on Jason Martin, because he is very, very quick, and he can really catch you off guard when he makes those moves, because he sort of does it in places where you go, where did he get that grip from?
Yeah, definitely. When you think about it, though, Carl, all those Mitch boys are good under the brakes and making you wonder where the hell they got the that grip from. So, be interesting to see how these two go, being in second and third at the moment.
Yeah, sitting in prime spots, and of course they're still fighting it out for the championship as well. The Mitch boys up in the two of the top three at the moment. Darren McKenzie is the third car in the championship. He's sitting in fifth at the moment. But Jason Martin will sorely love to get a victory, or at least finish ahead of those two drivers, just to extend his lead a little bit in the championship to come. He's looking at making a move now on Traher, though. Up the front, down the inside, gets past Traher. And Traher's now going to try and get the run underneath him on the next set of corners. Martin's got down nicely, though. Got that thing planted. And into the lead goes the 21.
I think Martin's just looked after his tyres a little bit better in those first 20 laps, because you've seen Taylor get out and push, excuse me, and push that car a little bit. So I think maybe those tyres may have started to hurt just that little bit.
Yeah, he had that big lead in the early stages and then just started dropping back a tiny bit. So maybe just pushing a little bit too soon on those tyres. But Luke is one of those drivers that has an affinity for keeping tyres kind of alive. I wonder if he's just easing it off a little bit now, just to try and get a little bit more of a extension. He maybe thought we might be getting a caution early, but he has got Josh Micklemore now, the red 31, on his tail. So he'll be keeping an eye on that car as Josh looks to make a little bit of a move. Doesn't make it fully, but is just getting some tensions there, just letting Luke know that, yep, I'm coming and I'm going to make a move when I can. So Luke's going to have to start defending that inside line a bit more. Have to take a slightly tighter line, and that will hurt his exit. And you'll see Josh trying to use that to his advantage, getting a better run off the corner and try to get a little bit better of a drag race. So good action here up the front, and well, action throughout the field at the moment. On lap 24, we've seen green flag laps so far. 17 seconds covering the field at the moment. So a fairly decent coverage for the field. Less than 10 seconds covering the top 21 cars at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. And here's something, Carl. You spoke about the 06 car, Ruben Phelps, before. He's now up in the 13th spot. He's up 10 spots from his starting position. So he's having a great run.
He is just behind him, Ryan Jones as well. Those two drivers deciding not to qualify, and they are both working their way through the field nicely. Ruben is the leading driver of that group, though, and he is up there in P13 and just getting up the field nicely just behind. See the two inside lane production cars there of Jordan and Tomlin side by side, and they've got Brett Campbell trying to make a move as well here. So all fighting going on as the Golden Octopus car just makes a move on the inside, gets a nice little run there and tries to make the move. Josh Micklemore, though, is past Luke Traher now, and Traher is having to defend Darren McKenzie now. And if McKenzie gets past, the top three drivers are our three drivers in the championship. And, well, I think it's going to be on for those guys, because they know that every point is crucial this stage of the championship.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just wondering, and I know this doesn't sound real good, but I'm just wondering if Micklemore is just backing the hair up just that little bit to give Martin that little bit more of a lead. But as I say that, Micklemore's just stretched his legs a little bit more.
Yeah, I don't imagine he would, because he wants to get on the back of Martin, and they're coming up to traffic now as well. So just catching the back of the field now, and that's going to change things up as well. Dave Douglas making a bit of a move on Barry Neal here, side by side. The two cars at the moment, Stevie Dub just in front of them. And well, that's a lot of talent in a very small area of the screen there. Those three drivers giving a great bit of racing.
Yeah, definitely. And just in front of that, Carl, Andy Barber, he's no slouch either. He's had some good results on the short track, a few top tens in the last season, and so be good to keep an eye on him too.
Yeah, absolutely. A driver that is just chipping away at it and just improving in the races. Ooh, they get very close to each other there, as the 194 just drops back a little bit of Andy Barber. Might have made a little bit of a mistake there, because he looked like he dropped a lot of pace there, and he's got a bit of a wrinkle on the front of that car. But just drops a fair few positions. Now, Dave Douglas all over the side of Stevie Dub, so that battle's starting to heat up. A little bit further up the field, side-by-side action, as Josh Micklemore is just working his way through the pack, but Darren McKenzie has got up into P3 now, and they are having to fight their way through the traffic now, of course, and this is where it gets very tight very quick, because you've got the leaders battling it out for position, and you've got drivers that are a lap down now battling it out for position, and it can get very, very close out there very, very quickly. Of course, no blue flags in oval racing. You're absolutely free to fight for your lap, keep fighting for that lead lap position. That's crucial as we go 3 wide here. Tristan Koch on the outsiders. All contact for Luke Trahair as he goes round. This is going to bring out the caution, surely. Unless he can get it moving in the right direction in time, though. There's the caution flag. Luke Trahair goes around, and the first caution of the night on lap 35.
Well, I guess I was wrong there. Lap 35, a great run for the first lot of green flags.
That's it. We'll just see the replay here. 3 wide at Richmond is, well, it's going to end in disaster usually, and it did absolutely end. Luke got pretty lucky. He doesn't appear to have too much damage on the car. Did take a bit of a shunt on the nose, but yeah, that's unfortunate there. And I think McKenzie was just running a little bit tight on the low line. Trahair was running up on the high line. You know, the car's always going to wash up a little bit on the exit there. Bit of a racing incident between those two cars. And unfortunately for Trahair, he came out worse in that one. Pit lane is going to be busy now, though, as pretty much everybody in the field is going to come down pit lane. Get some fresh boots on the car. Get a little bit of fuel in there. As Stevie Dub has made an absolute pig's ear of that one. He's pointing in the wrong direction. I reckon he's been clipped. It has been a bit of contact between Stevie Dub and Luke Georgeson, and that is why Stevie Dub was pointing in the wrong direction, and as is the peril with pit stops sometimes. It's been contact in the pit lane, and that has cost Stevie Dub a huge amount of time, and he'll have to get some repairs there as well, as he have to flick spin it into his pit box, because you can't reverse too much in pit lane, of course. So that was going from bad to worse, from bad to worse, from bad to worse for Stevie Dub there.
Again, Carl, that's unfortunate for Stevie Dub. He's sticking to the as far right as he can for the pit stop, and yeah, unfortunately he's just Georgeson's come down that inside lane and been in the wrong spot.
It's perilous in pit lane, though. That's one of the skills for racing on ovals that you sort of don't think about until you have to make a pit stop with a load of other cars. It gets very tight very quickly, and of course pit lane here is very tight indeed. So it's a bit of an unfortunate moment there, and look, these things do happen. But good.
Sorry, I was just going to say, and unfortunately for Stevie Dub, he's ended up a lap down. So Not a night point for him, but racing here on the short track.
No, that's it. It's going to be. It's not over though. Things can come back quite quickly in short track racing. If he's the first car a lap down, he can get that lap back very, very quickly. Hopefully, this will be our lone caution for tonight, but you never know on short tracks. You never know. We are 38 laps in. They're also going to start forming up 2 by 2 very shortly. As just trying to see who that was. It's Christopher Tomlin's going to get the wave around. So he's going to be able to get onto the back of that train of cars and keep on the lead lap. But he'll be on very warm tyres, of course, so not in an ideal spot for Tomlin. But Jason Martin is going to be our leader for this restart. It's going to be a Mitch front row here for the restart. Darren McKenzie just behind them with Adam Malone on the outside. Then we have Jai Schultz, Phil Bissett, Dave Douglas, Norman Clark, Barry Neal and Ruben Phelps all up in the top 10. Pace car comes in, going to get to the restart zone. Green flag drops. Jason Martin gets down on the pedal, gets a brilliant launch there out into the lead of the race. See, they're all side by side at the moment on these fresh boots. They've got a lot more confidence now on fresh tyres, and they're going to be racing hard, trying to get those early positions in this initial start. But this is where accidents can easily happen. As you can see, we've got 3 wide across the field for a couple of moments there, but they're all keeping well behaved at the moment as Barry Neal sneaks it down the middle there.
Finley's around. So sorry, I just caught the back of that. The 144 car into the side of Brad Finley, the 20 VB car. I'm not sure. I think it was out of turn 4, Matt. So
yeah, big accident there, and cars have sort of not really slowed down with the car turning sideways on track, and it's caused a little bit of an accident behind that as well, unfortunately. And it's a couple of cars in that position know where to go. You can see the red car, the 144 up there, and I think it's Maddie Ray up there as well, trying to slow down for the incident. And then you have cars sort of coming in very hot as well, and makes the crash a little bit worse. So that's a second caution there, and that's going to just drop a couple of cars, out with a fair bit of damage, I think. A few cars have taken a big whack in that accident.
Yeah, definitely. But look at it. Hair just come up, just that fraction, and just enough to touch the back of Finley to turn him. So unfortunately, there. I might go see him, see if I can get hold of Manny Ray and have a quick chat with him.
Yeah, so that little bit of contact there, and yeah, that's a big one. So that's going to bring out the caution flag again, but this is short track racing, unfortunately, and it just takes that little momentary lapse, just that tiny tap, and that's when those big accidents happen. And you can see there quite a big accident as the car's gone round, and it's such it's quite a narrow track as well, Richmond, so it's very easy to have a big accident here and nowhere to go in that one. So leaders are lining up again. Couple of people coming down pit lane, I imagine just for some repairs rather than getting fresh boots, because they've only just started that stint, so nobody's really thinking about coming in pit lane. But Jason Martin's going to have to redo that start again. He had a pretty much perfect start last time, so he's going to hope that he can make a habit of that one and get a second start out of his boots. Just with Josh Micklemore on the outside. Darren McKenzie's going to be looking though and thinking, well, I'll see what I can do in this start, because I saw what you did last time. I'll get a bit of a plan of action and see what I can do on this restart. So looking at big movers in the race, Ryan Jones is one of those big movers, up 16 positions in P8.
All right, Carl, I've had a nice little run down pit lane. Matty Ray looks like he's going to park his car. There is extensive damage on that vehicle.
That is not what we want to hear from the 83. So that will be one of the first cars out tonight. And just getting caught up in that big wreck there for the 83 SRM machine. And that's a shame indeed. So we've lost one car tonight, and a few more cars are a bit walking wounded out there as well. So hopefully they'll be able to continue on tonight as well, as the cars start forming up 2 by 2 now. Pace car lights are out. We're going to go back to green flag racing when it comes in. Just talking about the big movers there, Mark. Ryan Jones and Ruben Phelps up. Ryan Jones up 16 positions or so. So he's having a good run up there with Ruben Phelps. Dave Douglas as well, another big mover, up 14 odd spots up in P5. So a few people working their way up through the field nicely.
Yeah, definitely. Look, it's just one of these. Back with Matty Ray, I can tell you he wasn't happy. But where do you do in these races? Do you start down the back and just drive through, or do you qualify and try and get up the front? But the same thing can happen either spot. So yeah, it's a hard luck.
It is, as we go back to green flag racing here. Martin getting a nice jump once again at the start, pulling out a fairly healthy little gap at the front, but the racing behind is absolutely fast and furious stuff. You can see 2, 3 wide in the background as Barry Neal's up towards the front of the pack now. Always keep an eye on Barry Neal a bit further back there, 3, 4 wide, almost coming through turn number 4 as we get across the line. It's lap 48, 85 laps to go here at Richmond for round number 7 of the Thunder Series.
I was just watching the 93 car of Mirko, and he was really trying to hang hard on that outside line. So yeah, it's and Ryan Jones there, and we've still got 3 wide back here with Stevie Dubb and Luke Trahere.
There's a huge pack back there, and they are absolutely side by side. Some really, really furious racing going on down towards the back of the pack at the moment. Up the front, it's relatively civil. They're pretty much all in a line at the moment. There's all contact between Dornack and Ryan Jones there. And Ryan Jones gets caught by a couple of cars afterwards as well, just coming through the corner. And that is, well, that's going to be heartbreak for number 11 tonight after a good run up towards the front. Ryan Jones has got a fair bit of damage in that car.
Just look for Norman Clark, Stevie Dubb. I was just going to say, it looks like Mirko, like it wouldn't have been intentional from him. He's just touched him and unloaded him and turned him.
Yeah, it was just the lightest touch there, but
yeah,
that has caused that car around it. All it takes is a light little touch, and around she goes. And that's exactly what happens there. And as you saw, a few cars coming round the corner, they were sort of side by side at that stage. And, well, again, 3 wide at that moment and trying to get on the brakes, trying to avoid that incident. And unfortunately, Stevie Dubb is the driver that really got caught out in that one, as well as one.
Oh, no. Sorry, Kobe Jordan.
Yeah, I was just about to say one of the inside lane cars, and it was Kobe Jordan.
I think Sarah may have to tell him to rethink his paint schemes, because these paint schemes have not been lucky for that inside lane team.
No, it's been... Maybe it's too stealthy for the nighttime, the black. It needs a slightly brighter car or something like that. But, yeah, unfortunate there. Just wrong place, wrong time in that position, unfortunately.
Yeah, and that's some heavy damage there on Jones's car. Stevie Dubb, we can see he's missing his bonnet. So that's not going to help him here. Even though the aero doesn't do a big job here, you definitely still want your bonnet there, because the air will be getting stuck down into that engine bay.
Yeah, that's it. And you know, when you get damage on the front end of these cars, it can often damage the cooling system, which can really, really affect your race in the wrong kind of way. So we will be going back to green flag very shortly. Another lap behind the pace car here, and well, it'll be going back to green flags, and Jason Martin's got to do it again, Mark. He's had 2 really strong restarts. So will he make it 3 for 3?
I reckon he will. But it's interesting that we got 2 Mitch boys on the front row. Then we got 2 Southern Stars. Then we've got an inside lane, and of course Dee Dee's casting couch car on the outside, piloted by Dave Douglas. He's definitely not one to be counted out on this restart either, Carl.
No, that's it. It's should be pretty fun for this restart. Looking forward. Hopefully we get a nice few green laps out of it. Everybody is, of course, keeping out there because the tyres are taking absolutely no punishment under these caution laps. So there's no point coming in. The track position is key at this moment. A few people popping in pit lane though just to get some repairs done. So a couple of cars just needing that little bit of the older rubber mallet just to shape it into the right direction, get the panels looking straight again, and a little bit of 100-mile-per-hour tape on the bonnet just to keep it stuck on there. But the pace car will be pulling in any second. Jason Martin leading away once more tonight here at Richmond. Is round number 7 of the Thunder Championship, and we're about to go back to green flag racing.
I was also going to just say, Carl, it's good to see a good mix of make of cars up there. 2 Chevs, 3 Fords, and 2 Toyotas in that top 8.
Oh, as a round goes, I think it was Jackson. Paul Jackson has gone around in the background, and I just saw that car. Very distinctive paint job, and purple rims on it were flying through the air. So that was definitely Jackson. As bit of contact just coming in on the brakes, a little bit of contact with Aidan Schultz. He's gone round, and another inside lane car of Christopher Tomlin at this time is in the wrong place at the wrong time. Absolutely nowhere to go for the 2-1-2 there as he gets caught in that one.
Tell you what, the number 80 from SRM, Noddy Tompkins, was lucky to get through that too, not get involved in it.
You see there up top, not the number 90 as well of Nigel Patton. He just got clipped in that one. And yeah, a few drivers, and you can just see as they're just checking up as well, just trying to slow down. It's not easy to do sometimes in these cars, and a couple of little taps in the background. So a few drivers having to come in again just to get some repairs done as we see the 4th caution here tonight on lap 58.
Yeah, and Norman Clark was lucky there. He was able to pull that car, the 09 car, up in time and miss that. But I think he may have just touched the outside wall. So maybe slight damage on that right front.
That's it. And well, a few of these drivers will be getting close to incident points as well, I'm sure. I'm just looking through my list at the moment, and Luke Georgeson, he has copped a drive-through for incident points, and looks like Stevie Dove's got a drive-through as well, possibly for some kind of infringement. So he'll have to serve that when the green flag comes out. But that's the other problem on a short track like this, Mark, of course, is well, incident points can start creeping up quite quickly when you have these small little touches in incidents like that. And that can be the thing that costs you a lot more positions, even if you've been relatively lucky getting through the accidents.
Yeah, definitely. I think Stevie Dub may have just got a touch on that last accident there. So that would have put him over his incidents. And again, I'll say it, not a great night for Stevie Dub. He definitely won't walk away from this race meeting tonight a happy man.
No, that is for sure. It's it can be the way on short tracks. You know, when it all goes your way, it feels good. but when things go wrong, they can snowball and go very, very wrong very, very quickly. This will help a couple of cars, though, just get back on the lead lap, as they should get the lucky dog. I think Toby Jordan will be... Michael Campbell is that lucky dog at the moment in the 619 entry. With Chester Cheeto on the nose. A very orange car there, just to stealthily try and pretend to be one of the Aotor Aurora cars there.
But they've got another tough track next week. I believe it's Martinsville or Richmond. It's the opposite, the one to where we are tonight.
We're at Richmond, Mark, so...
Oh, it's Martinsville next week.
We could be doing double Richmond.
Yeah, no, I've just got some issues in the background here. My trading paints has finally decided to start to work.
Martinsville,
So a nice little tight bumpy track next week.
Yeah. Race sharing the trucks. Yeah, trucks were there on Monday night, so that was prelude. Less said about that night, the better for me, I think. As we go back to green flag racing here, lap 61, we've got 71 laps remaining here. Martin again gets a nice restart, but this time Darren McKenzie is all over the back of Josh Micklemore, so he's trying to get up there. There's some battling going on in behind them, though. There's some few cars too wide, but most of the front cars are starting to slip into single file now. Up in the top 6 at least, single file, a little bit further back, few cars just trying to jostle full position at the moment.
And just watching Noddy Tompkins there in the 80 car. He's hanging tough on the inside row.
Yeah, keeping him...
Oh, touch.
Contact between Georgeson and Dornack, I think that was.
Oh.
Just recovering... we've been recovering Luke Georgeson from serving the drive-through. And he's just made contact with the 93 of Dornack, and a big hit for one of the SRM cars. I think it was
Noddy. Yeah,
it was Noddy. Noddy Tompkins and Aidan Schultz as well, just behind that. So big accident there. And then Noddy was on the brakes, and Brad Fenley, has unfortunately gone into him, and sort of had nowhere to go in that situation. Brad sort of locked it up and just gone into the back of Noddy. So big accident there. And that brings out the 5th caution of tonight. And just looking through the old incident points, looks like Nigel Patton has been struck with the incident points now, as he will have to have a drive-through, as well as Mirko Dortnack and Paul Jackson. So the old adage of cautions breeding cautions, Mark, we say it many times, unfortunately, but it is quite true.
Yeah, I just wondering what actually happened. Like the guys would have known they were there, and they just squeezed each other, and that is a big hit for Noddy in the rear end from Brad. But no, that wasn't intentional. Brad would have had everything locked up and just nowhere to go.
Yeah, that's it. It was it was. I don't think he was expecting the car to be down there and just caught the back. And I guess one good thing about being hit in the back that heavily is it's not too much to damage in the tail of these cars, especially when it's a real square hit like that.
Yeah, but I just seen then Noddy got a fair hit in that right front from Perry, so
yeah,
be some damage done to the front of the car too.
It's been a rough night for the SRM crew. Well, for most of them. For one of them, it's going okay at the moment, but things can change. Kai Turner deciding he's going to come down pit road. He's got a little bit of damage on the car, but I think that's just residual damage. So I wonder if he's coming in just to slap some fresh boots on that thing. as well as getting a little bit of repair done on the 408. So keep an eye out for Kai Turner on the restart of this race, because he might have some good speed on those fresh boots. Although we've not done much running on the tyres, they have still got a fair few laps underneath them now. So some fresh boots could really help out for the next 60 odd laps. And if we go green, that could be a stroke of genius.
Yeah, definitely. There's quite a few cars out there with damage. Ryan Jones seen that damage on the rear end front of his car from that accident earlier. Nigel Patton, heavy damage on the rear end of that on the 90 car. The 144 Terry Akanakis, he's got some huge damage on the rear end. Mirko is still in pit lane getting damage done. The hard luck story has to go out to Stevie Dub tonight, Carl. That car is an absolute mess.
Yeah, I think there's 3 really tough stories out there. You had Ryan Jones having a really good run up. Maddie Ray getting caught up in that incident, just nowhere to go. And Stevie Doe as well, just nowhere to go. Green flag is out though. Martin makes the restart again and once again gets away nicely. But this time Mackenzie's got a little bit more speed behind Bicklemore. Although up on the high side, it's Ruben Phelps that's flying at the moment. That Kiwi has got some wings and he likes to use them as he's trying to get the run on Darren Mackenzie now side by side coming down to turn 3 and 4. Mackenzie on the inside just rubs up a little bit, has to jump on the gas, jump on the brakes a little bit just to get that car turned, and that's giving Dave Douglas the run.
Dave's been able to get down and get on that low line, and you see Ruben there jumps down in behind Dave. He'll try and push in the best he can. They'll probably try it here in 1 and 2, but I reckon 3 and 4 is where they'll really have a good crack at it.
Like Phelps just got a little bit loose across the D section there, and I just got that car back under control, but lost a little bit of momentum with that, and that's left Dave there side by side with Mackenzie, and Mackenzie's having to run slightly higher line here, and that could start affecting him later on. He'll get less drive, less speed through the corner. He should get a little bit better drive off the corner, running up on that slightly higher section, and he's just got ahead of Douglas there. So he's managed to keep that P3 spot crucially, especially championship points wise as well.
Yeah, definitely. And we see Adam still hanging in there, trying to pressure the back of Phelps. But these guys are now...
Oh, we've got a big wreck, Mark, sorry. We have got the car of Sean Decay up in the wall, and contact between him and Schultz, and Kobe Jordan has been really caught up there, and that was a big accident. The car's just been flung around, and unfortunately Kobe Jordan, well, we can add another one to the hard luck stories for Kobe Jordan, because he's absolutely not been in the right place at the right time tonight, as Sean ends up flying over as well. Kobe Jordan has really not been at fault for any incident tonight, but he's just been in the wrong place at the wrong time, and I think that's his race over.
That's a heavy hit. Oh.
It's an awkward position as well for the 26 division, because obviously holding the brakes, that's what you do, but the car was it was still rolling that little bit, and unfortunately it rolled to the middle of the track, and it's a tough situation, because if you don't hold your brakes, you're going to cause a wreck. If you hold your brakes, you're probably going to cause a wreck. So you just have to hope that you're going to get through that one, and unfortunately the cars were too close together after that restart, and there was no way anyone's going to get through that and survive. So one person's misfortune is another one's gain, as Tristan Koch has got the lucky dog out there tonight, and he is going to come through in the very nice looking car. Just having a good look at that ballistic car's paint job as it steams around for the lucky dog spot. interesting. Koch is going to get his. He's going to get 1 lap back. He was 2 laps down, I believe. So he's just 1 lap off the lead. But yeah, a few hard luck stories there. And you see Noddy Tompkins as well, just nowhere to go. He's on the brakes. But, you know, these cars don't stop well at the best of times. Paul Jackson as well. He's tried to sneak it through. And he almost made it through without contact. But that might give him a... that might be... adding up on the old incident points there for Jackson, but I think he's okay. He's got through that one, so some good news for Jackson at least.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll tell you what, Luke Trainer wants to go buy a lottery ticket because how he missed that wreck, I have no idea.
I would say it's all skill. It's all down to skill. It's the MMA skill. He's good at ducking and weaving. That's the thing for Luke. He's got the MMA knowledge. He knows how it's going to work. He can duck and weave and avoid those strikes when they come from the way down into the car. Of course, if you're looking for MMA content, Luke Traher is one of the best out there for getting information on in the 43. So we are under caution again, and Jason Martin again has to do the restart. But, well, we've had a few people changing tyres now. So the top 7 are all on the tyres that they changed in that initial caution. So they've all done about 40-odd laps on these tyres. Not racing laps, but laps nonetheless. So, you know, that does start to wear the tyres a little bit. We've got Jai Schultz in P8. Got a bit of damage. He's had to come in for a little bit of repair, but he has got some fresher boots on that car. And then everybody behind has pretty much been in pit lane relatively recently. So that could be something to look out for if we get a nice green flag run for the rest of this race. We've got 55 laps remaining here. It is the ANZCAR Thunder Series, round number 7 of 12. So season 1 of 2023 here at Richmond Raceway. The very tricky little short track. And we're about to go green once more as Martin gets away nicely. That car's pulling away well every time we've had a restart, but this time it was a little bit more sluggish as those rear tyres did not want to grip as much. Couldn't quite get the power down when he needed to.
Pretty good move there on the outside from Dave to get up in the 4th position over Malone and Neil.
And watch out for the 34 there of Adam Malone. He's having some good runs as well. If the connectivity gods wants to play ball with him, he's having a good run there next to Barry Neal, and Jai Schultz just behind him. Remember, has got some fresher boots on that car.
Yeah, I think Jai's going. If Jai wants to get around here, he's going to have to do it on the high line because these guys will stick to the low line as much as they can.
Another one to keep an eye out for is that Kiwi of Ruben Phelps in the 06. He came in for some fresh boots as well. So we've seen how fast Ruben's been all night. He's now got some fresh tyres on that car. Watch out and see what he can do on them in the next few laps as we get back to racing here. And everybody starts to settle into a little bit of a rhythm.
Behaving themselves further back and into a single file, so let's hope we can get some good green flag racing in.
Usually when you say everybody's behaving themselves, that's when a car is upside down on fire just as you finish that sentence. So we've managed to get through that sentence without a caution, so that's some good news. But we're seeing some runs starting to work their way now. People are just settling in. They're not pushing too hard at the moment, but they will start to get the confidence back and start to push forward. You can see just at the bottom of the pitch, just to the top end behind there, Ruben Phelps just getting past Malone now. And I'd say Ruben's going to start working his way up through the field. and he could be very dangerous in the latter stages of this race. Looks like some bad news though for Darren McKenzie, as he has dropped off the screens. It looks like the dreaded Shadow Realm has claimed the number 02 car, Darren McKenzie, and taking that into its realm, unfortunately, and not let it back into the race. That could be race over for Darren McKenzie.
That's unfortunate for Darren. That's not going to help his championship with him sitting in the top 3 there.
He came into this race in P2, and when you're fighting Jason Martin, you cannot afford any issues, and unfortunately a connectivity issue with Jason Martin as your Jason Martin and I should say Josh Micklemore battling you out in the championship is going to hurt a lot, and that is going to hurt Darren McKenzie. Hopefully you can get back and get some points on the board, but yeah, that's a big shame, especially for the championship battle that we were having as well. But Jason Martin in the lead at the moment with Josh Micklemore behind him. It's Dave Douglas in 3rd position, working his way nicely through the field, up 16 spots in this race. The big mover and shaker though is the flying Kiwi behind him. It's Ruben Phelps. He is coming quick and fast on those fresher boots, remember, and he is making them work for him now. He could be looking for a very strong finish here tonight. We've got 44 laps remaining, and if we go green, we could see Ruben coming up and, well, getting a very nice result here tonight as he gets past Dave Douglas up into P3. Keep an eye on Barry Neal as well. He's sitting there in P5. He's always good on his tyres, and he's very quick on a short track, so he could have a little bit more to play as this race goes on. He's one of those drivers that can start creeping up there as the laps go past. Some good racing going on a little bit further back as well. Luke Trehair, Kai Turner battling it out at the moment as well. Kai Turner, another one of those drivers that came in for some fresher boots earlier in the stint, and he's trying to make them work. And Luke Trehair, of course, our pole sitter, he got pointing round in the wrong direction earlier in the race, but he's managed to work his way back up into P11 now. As we look at the front, as Josh Micklemore has an SRM car all over his rear spoiler, and he's going to be looking at Ruben going, yeah, that's quicker than me at the moment. He's got so much more grip on the tyres. He can just put that car wherever he wants, and he does it down the inside of Micklemore. Micklemore's trying to squeeze as tight as he can, tries to stop Ruben, but he can't do anything to defend that. Ruben Phelps up into P2.
Nice move, nice setup by Ruben to make that move, and he won't be long before he's on the back of Martin.
That's it, and using those fresh tyres to his advantage there as well on Josh. He just had so much more grip on the low line. He could really press the advantage there, and he did indeed take that advantage and get past. Michael Campbell up a position as he's just made the move on Kai Turner. Campbell's got a fair bit of damage on that car. We saw him having a bit of an incident earlier on, but he's back on the lead lap now and he's making it work. He's working his way up the field nicely, up into P12 in this race. So some good, very close there between Turner. I think that was Andy.
Yeah, it's Andy Barber.
Yeah, Andy Barber there. Very, very close. A little bit of rubbing there. And well, rubbing is racing, but you just have to be cautious, as we've seen tonight. As if you just get in the wrong spot, it's very easy to loop a car around, and for that to have some problems. Up the front, though, Jason Martin pulling a bit of a lead on everybody else, but he's not able to shake Phelps off of his tail. Phelps is putting all the pressure he can on the number 21.
Just watching that gap, it's definitely coming down. It's still at 0.3 of a second, but Ruben just seems to close up that little bit. Now we've got it under that 0.3, so he's definitely got the tyres under him.
That's it. And it's one of those things, you may be on much fresher boots than Jason Martin, but he's still quick. And it could be one of those things you're sitting behind Jason going, my tyres are 40 odd laps fresher than yours. How are you still so quick? He is very good at keeping a car going fast, even on older tyres, and he won't make it easy for Ruben. It will not be an easy pass for sure. We've got 35 laps remaining, which will also help Jason Martin just have that little bit of extra defence up his sleeve. But Ruben might be able to take some slightly tighter lines here, which he does. He's going to take that tight line through the corner. Jason's going to try and get a run underneath him now. But it looks like Ruben has got it done as he gets sideways off the corner. That gives Jason the opportunity to fight back here. Great action here at the front for the leader for the race. Martin versus Phelps. They're side by side coming through turn number 3 and 4. Phelps on the high side at the moment. Martin on the inside. Martin's going to try and use that inside line for his advantage, which he does. He defends against Phelps that time round. He's going to try and use that inside line for his...
Great driving from Martin to fight back there. Being able to work those older tyres on that low line and keep it right down close. I was just going to say, before that pass, Carl, you could see Martin move down track a little bit when Ruben's got right into the behind him, but that's hurt him coming off the corners. He's had to let the car drift, and that's given Ruben the run. Again, you can see him just off that white yellow line that people call the pole line, but it's some good battling. Can Ruben come back and fight back to it?
Absolutely. Just behind them, though, it's Dave Douglas in the 10 making a move. And now Barry Neal has got the run on Josh Mickelmore. And Dave Douglas is having a fantastic run in. Well, it's as expected in the casting character entry. Dave Douglas in the 10, always strong no matter what track we go to. But Barry Neal now as well, he's creeping up there as well. Those just able to keep that working. Up the front, though, it's a move for the lead as Martin gets passed by Phelps. Phelps up in front this time. He holds off the attack from Jason Martin. Jason Martin came down, tried to make the move work. Phelps just gets the better drive off the corner on those fresh tyres. Keeps ahead of Martin, and it is the 06 taking the lead of the race. He needed to make that move because he could see in his rearview mirror Dave Douglas closing the gap with Barry Neal, and now Phelps has to make hay while the sun shines. Gets out in front of Martin. He needs to build up a bit of a gap here.
Yeah, and you can see some of those shots that these guys are starting to close up in some lap cars again. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out for him when they do catch those lap cars.
Yeah, lap cars coming to the next. It's a few laps until we catch them, but they will come quickly. And especially with some of those with damage out there, they should just keep relatively high out of the way. A little bit further back, we said watch out for Jai Schultz. He's got some fresh boots on himself, and he's making that work at the moment. He's just sitting behind Josh Mickelmore, not quite able to close the gap. Adam Malone sitting in 7th. Got Aidan Schultz in 8th, with Mark Smith having a good run in P9 at the moment, and Phil Bissett in P10. A good run for that team tonight.
Yeah, definitely. Just wondering what's happening with Paul. Paul's down in 12th, so yeah. He's not having a bad run either. So
he's sitting in that sort of group of cars. Luke Traher is the piggy in the middle of those team cars at the moment. He's got a fair bit of gap over Paul Brady at the moment. He's putting the pressure on Bissett, so that will be Luke trying to work his way back up. Then we know Luke's got a fast car tonight. He slammed it on pole position, so he's got some speed around Richmond. He's just not had the best luck so far, so he's going to see what he can do and see if he will squeeze it up and get at least a top 10 finish, maybe a few more positions up there if he can.
Yeah, definitely. He's definitely closed that gap up between him and Phil, so that's maybe one we keep an eye on. But we've got Ruben Phelps about to come up and put a lap on Brad Finley in the number 20 BB car.
Yeah, that's it. Gets a bit tight there on the exit of the corner. A bit tight there across the D oval as well. That will have had Ruben taking a deep breath and probably gripping hold tight of that steering wheel. That's close the gap behind to Jason Martin, but also to Dave Douglas. Dave Douglas now getting up close. He is really getting close to the back of Jason Martin. So Martin now is going to have to defend a little bit against Dave and try and attack on Ruben So he's got it all to do at the moment. As you see there as well, Barry Neal also getting up close to this one. So that battle is starting to heat up, and we should be in for some interesting racing here as these cars just move along here tonight. As somebody just tagged the wall just a little bit. They're very close to the wall there for some of those drivers. They are really pushing hard. We've got 21 laps remaining here at Richmond, and we should be in for an absolute great battle here at the end. Hopefully we go green for those next 21 laps.
Yeah, definitely. Just to cover off our retirements tonight, we've got the two SRM guys of Noddy Tompkins and Matty Ray, both involved in a big accident. We've got, unfortunately, Kobe Jordan retired, Luke Georgeson and Darren McKenzie beaten up by the electrical gods.
Yeah, really unfortunate for Darren McKenzie. He was having a really strong run tonight. Big shame to lose him from there. See Douglas and Barry Neal just getting past the 015 Brett Campbell in the Golden Octopus car, of course. And if you have some spare coins laying around, head over to the Golden Octopus Foundation and lend a little bit of a help to the fight and give cancer a bit of a bloody nose.
Yeah. Phelps and Martin are definitely closing up on the back of a heap of lap cars. Nigel Patton has done the right thing. He's moved down low, let them go. But these guys, these four cars in front, will be still looking at running their own race with Ryan Jones in there, Perry Akanakis, and I just can't make out Christopher Tomlin there. So unfortunately they will go another lap down.
No, that's it. And you see Ryan Jones are just moving up and keeping well out of the way of the leaders there. And shame to see Ryan out of the battle for the front so early, because he was having a good run up here in the early stages of the race. He was fighting his way through the field with this man that's leading at the moment, Ruben Phelps. These two starting way down towards the back of the pack, working their way up. And it's Ruben's made a good job of it so far, as it's just coming down on the inside lane car, as well as Tristan Koch. So just moving their way up nicely through the pack. Christopher Tomlin there, just keeping out the way, so is Tristan Koch. And look, this is the opportunity that you can use when you're one of those cars that is going down a lap. If you've been struggling to get past that car in front of you, you can sometimes use it to your advantage and make a bit of a pounce on that car that's lapping you, just to get past them. You know, you stay on the back of one of those cars that's lapping, and you use that to your advantage. But most of those cars are looking a little bit second-hand, probably don't have the speed at the moment. Battle here with Luke Trahair, as he is just side by side at the moment with Mark Smith. Luke Trahair getting the run in the 43 at the moment and is making his move towards the top 10. This fight side by side at the moment as they're getting past lap cars. This could be very tricky indeed. They're coming up to Brad Fenley as well, and it looks like Trahair's made the move and sticking it.
Yeah, definitely. Look, good work, this persistent, and made the move.
Nice driving there. Nice little battle going on there as well. But up the front of the field, at the front of this race, Ruben Phelps is still having to defend and still having to put in the hard work to keep Jason Martin behind him. They may have a 40 lap difference on their tyres. Remember, though, most of those laps were done under pace car conditions. But Ruben is still having to put in the hard work to keep Jason behind him. It's no easy task whatsoever. A little bit further back, it's Adam Malone and Jai Schultz. Those two having a good battle as well, keeping really close to each other at the moment, keeping each other honest. But we've got 12 laps remaining in this race, so it is quickly coming towards the end of the race. But the laps count down quite quickly here at Richmond.
Yeah, definitely. And the other person there in H spot, Aidan Schultz, mate, a good run for him tonight. I'm just trying to see where he started. He started down in 26, so he's been able to keep his nose clean tonight and have a good run up into that top 10. Yeah,
just working his way up nicely through the pack, and looks like the connectivity gods have been kind to him tonight as well, because he's had a few issues with that in the past. So it's looking like they are being kind to him at the moment. 10 laps remaining here, and Jason Martin is not giving up this chance of a race win right now. He is pushing, and pushing, keeping Phelps honest right now. And you sort of look at the tyre lives of these two cars, and you'd go, yeah, Phelps has got it. No, not when Jason Martin's involved. And you can't discount Dave Douglas and Barry Neal behind as well. They're still keeping pace, still keeping them honest. If these two start battling, it could easily become a losing battle for them as they lose pace. Meanwhile, teammates here are just very close to each other. That's Paul Drady and Mark Smith out on track together. That's the battle for P11 and P12 at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. Just watching the time difference between Martin and Phelps, mate. It's sitting around that 2.5 to 3.1 second gap. So I think we may see Martin try and have a real hard go, probably with about 3 to go, I reckon. He'll really get up there and try and really get underneath Phelps.
Absolutely. And at the moment, he's just putting that pressure on to try and force Ruben into a little bit of a mistake. And that is something that Jason is very good at, just putting that pressure on the driver in front. And he's doing it now. He's just positioning his car slightly lower in the entry. He's just making Ruben having to look up in that mirror, having to keep an eye on Jason Martin, having to keep his eye in the mirror rather than on the racetrack ahead of him. So Jason is starting to probe. He's got his probing attacks in now. And then he'll be going for the full-on assault with a few laps to go. We've got 5 laps at the moment. We are very quickly coming to the end of tonight's race. And this should be a grandstand finish between these two cars. Is the 06 of Phelps in the SRM machine against Jason Martin of Mitch Motorsport. Dave Douglas, Barry Neal just behind them in 3rd and 4th position. Josh Micklemore in 5th. 6th place, Giles Schultz. 7th, Adam Lone. Aidan Schultz in 8th. 9th for Phil Bissett and Luke Traher rounding out the top 10 as they just make their way underneath Campbell here. And just see Jason, he's just taking that slightly tighter line constantly just to keep Phelps looking in the mirror. But Phelps is not taking the bait. He's keeping his race as he wants it. 3 laps remaining now. This is where the attack will come from Jason Martin. What has he got left in that car tonight? What's he got left underneath the hood? What's he got left on those tyres? He is going to be pushing and really trying for the win here. He's going to want it for sure. He's led most of this race. Just might not be leading the lap that matters.
I think you'll see it now. He'll try and push that car a little bit. But the thing is too, do you go for the win, or do you say, well, he's got better tyres than me, I'll just settle for the 2nd spot?
It's Jason, so he's going to go for the win. He's got the championship in half in mind, but you know he's going to be wanting to go for that win as we've got 1.5 laps remaining. But it's not looking like Jason's got the tyres to make that push. He's just got to hope and try and push Ruben into a slight mistake here. White flag will be coming out as we cross the line. With that white flag, that means we have to go to the end. No more chance of a caution now. It's going to be the checkered flag or nothing as Ruben Phelps here, Jason Martin, they're just coming up on Kai Turner. Could we get a late little joker in the pack with a lapped car? Looks like Turner's absolutely not going to get involved in this one. He stays up nice and high, does not go in, gets involved, and it is Ruben Phelps doing a grand job tonight, starting down in 23rd position. He makes up 22 spots and gets the win tonight on race number 200 of his ANZCAR career.
Good to see 2 of my teammates up there in the top 10, and the 3rd one just outside in 12th. So Stevie Dove has done really well with that damage to his car, finishing down in 22nd spot, but unfortunately 2 laps down for him.
Absolutely, as Ruben is going to do a well-deserved burnout here, I'm hoping. And we'll go through the finishing order, it is Ruben Phelps, the Flying Kiwi for SRM, taking victory here tonight with Jason Martin P2. Dave Douglas comes home in third after another good run through the pack with Barry Neal in fourth position. Said watch out for Barry, and he does it once again on the short track. Josh Mickelmore comes home in fifth position, and just a few places behind his championship rival and teammate Jason Martin. Jai Schultz comes home in sixth with Adam Lane seventh. Aidan Schultz in 8th, 9th for Phil Bissett, and Paul Drady in 10th spot. So we roll over the page. It's Luke Trahair coming home in 11th. A good recovery for Luke. Mark Smith coming home in 12th with Andy Barber 13th, Kai Turner 14th position, Michael Campbell in 15th, 16th for Norman Clark, Ryan Jones 17th, 18th for Tomlin, Fenley in 19th, and Tristan Koch in 20th. As we roll over the page, it's Parry Anastakis there in 21st position with Stevie Dubb. Good recovery from him. Nigel Patton in 21st. Brett Campbell in 24th position with Paul Jackson 25th. 26th is Noddy Tompkins. Darren McKenzie out with connectivity failure, unfortunately. 27th, 28th for Decay. Jordan 29th. George Snack 30th. 31st for Georgeson. And Matty Ray out in 32nd spot. We've got a good race at the end here at Richmond. A little bit of cautions, and we did expect it here at Richmond. But we had some great green flag running at the end there and some great racing.
Yeah, definitely some great racing. So how many cautions did we end up with?
6. I believe. Yes, 6.
Yep.
So Matt is our winner in the booth.
Yes, I win our caution bidding competition.
Matt was being very, very optimistic. We were both being very pessimistic. So it's nice to see optimism pays off for the night. 30 laps under caution, 4 lead changes in the race, and 6 cautions overall. Just looking, and it is looking just fastest lap as well. And it was Jai Schultz that ended up with that one. So it was a solid run from Jai tonight. He had a very nice run through the pack indeed. As we wait for those drivers just to make their way to the green room and get up into that box before we drag them up and have a bit of a chat to them. But this has been a useful night for Jason Martin. As I say, unfortunate to lose Darren McKenzie, but this will just extend a championship lead for him. But I'm sure he wanted the victory out there tonight.
I think any driver that starts the race is thinking that they've got a chance to win. I know in real life racing, as soon as you get out there and you always think that you can go through for the win. But tough competition here in the Thunder. You've really got to qualify up and up the front and put on your best shoes.
Well, you say qualify up the front. It's you proved that wrong tonight. But it's it was a good run tonight. We saw some good action out on track. So just waiting for our third place man to appear. If he doesn't appear in a couple of seconds, we might drag up our second place man, Mr. Jason Martin. Grab our second place finisher for Mitch Motorsport up into the booth, Mr. Jason Martin. Jason Martin, welcome to the booth, mate. Congratulations on a good run out there. A very entertaining race to the end between you and Ruben Phelps, and he just had a little bit fresher tyres to make that a bit harder on you by the looks of it.
Oh man, not another second. Last week I wasn't going to settle for second. I was definitely going to send it and try and get that first, and same again this week. But yeah, just didn't have the tyres to make it happen. So yeah, unfortunately, I had to settle for another second.
No, it was well. First of all, last week at COTA, it was great to see you having such a good run out there. It's a big commiserations for the finish of that one. But we saw you back out on track and back to the heights tonight. Obviously, you led a fair few laps out there tonight. I think it was 82 at the end. So you had some pace out there, but it looked like just the tyres just weren't there at the end for you to make that move.
Yeah, that's something I don't really like about this tyre model. Add it to the list of things I don't like. It's like after about 4 or 5% wear, if someone gets new tyres, it makes a big difference, and it's almost impossible to pass them or keep up with them. So yeah, new tyres makes all the difference.
It does indeed. There were 40 laps difference. Of course, a lot of them were under caution, but you didn't make it easy for Ruben. We saw that great bit of racing, the up and under that you did when he got past you the first time, and you really kept him honest all the way through there. We're talking about it up here in the booth. When you've got Jason Martin behind you, even if he's on older tyres, you cannot let yourself rest at all.
Yeah, I was trying to put as much pressure on him as possible to try and make him wear out those tyres and hopefully make a mistake. But no, he kept it clean and drove well and deserved the win.
Absolutely, it was great action at the end. We were happy to have a nice green flag run at the end, and thank you for giving us all of that fun action. Of course, this is looking good championship-wise as well. Unfortunately, with Darren McKenzie having a mechanical DNF after his connection lost by the looks of things, this is going to help you lead just that little bit of extension between yourself and Josh and Darren. So you must be just thinking about that little bit of extra space on the trophy cabinet.
No, way too early for me to think about that. I just go after every race and see how it goes and let the points sort themselves out at the end.
Oh, well, look, it would be a brave person to bet against you, Jason. Congratulations tonight. Before I let you go, though, the usual thing of love and shout out to sponsors and people in general.
Yes, thanks to you guys for doing the broadcast. Thanks to the boys at Mitch Motorsports. And yeah, well done, Ruben, on the win, and well done, Dave. Good to see you on the podium.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jason, Martin, Mitch Motorsport. Well, always a pleasure to have you in the booth, and hopefully we'll see you back here very soon.
Hopefully not in another second.
No, that's it. Hopefully it'll be one place higher.
Or at least third. I'll take that.
All right. Third or first, we'll see you back here. Cheers, Jason.
Cheers, mate.
Next up, we're going to grab our third place finisher, the number 10. It is the man with the biggest casting couch in iRacing. It's Mr. Dave Douglas. Dave, welcome back to the booth. Congratulations on a solid P3 run here at Richmond.
Yo, what's going on, boys?
Well,
Thanks.
we've just had a pretty entertaining last few laps of that race. I mean, there were a few cautions, unfortunately, at Richmond, but we see that a few times. But those last few laps were absolutely great to watch.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. Surprisingly, I haven't concentrated that hard for a while, so maybe I just need to concentrate some more. But yeah, I was hoping that I'd be able to just have something for those guys in front. If I was actually waiting for Martin to throw a dive on or something, to do something just to slow him down so I could get in the battle as well. I just couldn't bridge the gap. But yeah, pretty happy to end up P3 after starting down the pack, and we were behind the 21, so we went with him that whole last run, and he's the master. So if that's the benchmark, mate, I'm happy with that.
No, absolutely, you had a solid run out there, and as you said, you were there to pick up the pieces if anything happened in front of you. But you had to work your way through the pack as well, starting down in 19th spot. You worked your way up into P3 tonight. That's not an easy thing to do at Richmond.
Yeah, did some passing tonight. A few little dive bombs in there. Just nice to know, no contact made. So sometimes it takes two to tango, but most of the time, like these guys, you can run the outside for a bit, but you just got to get a bit braver on the inside. But yeah, I know Barry, Neil, and we started like in front of each other, in line at the start, and we basically inseparable the whole race. Like either I was following him or he was following me that whole race, and we're just passing cars where we could. So it's good to see him. Brought him along with me, I guess you could say, and he had a nice battle with Josh too, and got himself a P4.
Well, it must have been something you'd have to keep a bit of an eye on as well. We know Barry is very strong on the short tracks. You must have been thinking,
absolutely.
Oh, when is that orange car going to try and make a move on me?
That's exactly what I was thinking. I thought at some point I think he's going to throw it up there. But Barry's got a cool head. He knows when to race and not to race, and we're making pretty good time as long as we sort of followed each other there. So there's a few times where I got a bit wide, and he probably had an opportunity to throw it in there, but he didn't. And that's just respectful racing, I guess. That's all it is. And we both end up with a good result. So shout out to Big Barry.
Very much. Always nice to give that shout out to Barry. And well, I mean, congratulations on tonight, Dave. And some more shout outs for you. The shout out to all your adoring fans and any sponsors and any people you'd like to mention tonight, of course, for your P3.
Oh yeah, it's just shout out to the to you boys, the ANZCAR crew, the broadcast crew, Matty Hunter, just ripping in here and getting shit done. Always good to see. And Mark, I don't know if he's here tonight. I can't see because I'm in VR still, but good to see him helping out and doing his own little thing there with the trucks, which is helping out as well. And yeah, just shout out for the guys. We had 2 good long runs tonight. Bit rough in the middle, but yeah, as I said, you get that at Richmond, and it ended up being all right at the end. So yeah, shout out everyone, and that's it.
I was just going to say, Carl, Dave, that doesn't get you back into the good books. You please leave your late note at the door on your way out.
Oh, mate, come on, mate. I'll give you a shout out. But it's a little bit of fun. I'm looking forward to seeing how we go on the Cup car tomorrow. I'm not very fast at that, as you know, Mark. So I'm pretty slow on that. So we'll see if we can soup it up in the pit stops or something.
You've heard it here first. Dave Douglas winning tomorrow night.
I love you, boys. I'm out of here.
Cheers, Dave. Have a good night, mate.
Take it easy. Thanks, boys. Love you, mate.
And finally, tonight, we are bringing up Mr. 200, the flying Kiwi. It is Ruben Phelps. Ruben, welcome back to the booth, mate. As you keep coming up here. You keep coming up here and not winning a race. Tonight, you start down in no man's land, down in 23rd spot at Richmond. You end up bloody winning it, don't you?
I know, right? It's now definitely a habit, but now it's on the right side of the podium for a change. So, I've got to keep celebrating it. Every time I come up, it's making it too common now. So, obviously, I'm doing something terribly right now. So,
absolutely, it's really good to see you up here so consistently and constantly. But obviously, we were having a little bit of a chat on Monday night. We were unsure if it was 199, 200. So we think it was tonight. So we'll classify it as tonight, I think, because it makes for a better headline story. 200 starts and a win here tonight. That is a fantastic job.
Yep, it's definitely on the stats board. It's going to be officially 200 tonight on that page. So definitely, what a way to frickin' take it out, eh?
Absolutely. Even that curse could not hold you back tonight. You had pace out there, even before you got those fresher boots at the end. But working your way through the field, you had some really good runs on people by the look of it.
Yeah, no, there was definitely like when you can drive that right rear, because obviously that's always the, you need to get it without it to get all tight. It was really, really good. No matter even if it was on the same set of tires as everybody else or, obviously a different strategy. But obviously at the end there, you can see that Martin managed to look after his tires a hell of a lot better than I did. And, I was obviously struggling at those last sort of 15 laps. But mainly that was all because of, obviously having to pass the field from where I was. And, obviously the back markers sort of being put in that in the wrong spot, having their own battle. Of course, you got to get around them and do your own thing. But I managed to hold off Martin, and obviously it was, I just took my time majority of that race and just had fun with it.
No, absolutely. I was going to mention Martin there. I mean, obviously you knew you had a slight tyre offset. You had to use up a little bit more of their life to get up to the front. But how surprised were you with the pace of Jason Martin on those slightly older boots?
Yeah, I was. Well, Martin's definitely no slouch. He knows exactly what he's doing. And obviously I'm still trying to learn these things. So it's ineligible. He's going to always, be able to have your run back, come back at you. But luckily the fresh tyres sort of just kept me ahead in that sense. But I just used that bottom line and, hold him off on the inside and the centre of the corner just to make sure he doesn't get any of those crisscross moves. And luckily it sort of, a back marker sort of happened at the right time about 2 or 3 laps beforehand, which sort of got him held up and off my bumper a wee bit. So I managed to sort of hold him off from there.
Absolute great drive tonight under pressure and also doing a lot of passing to get there as well. You really put your foot down and put your stamp on the car tonight. We've seen you up in victory lane a couple of times, but I think tonight was a very strong one indeed. And as we said on the 200 start, a fantastic stat to take it out with, Ruben. Congratulations tonight. Before I let you go though, the usual thing, the love, the shout out to all the adoring fans, the sponsors, the people who you want to say hello to. Go for it. You've earned it tonight.
I got to shout out Performance E-Streaming for putting the broadcasts on the Wednesdays and Thursdays, and of course, SRM Australia and Matty Ray. Of course, he unfortunately getting involved in the drama again, and so it's really been a tough year for Matty Ray. I feel for him, mate. It's just he's how clean he usually is, and it's just getting involved in all the silliness that's in back. But unfortunately, that's just what luck of the draw, and of course, all the sponsors when it comes to mobile brake and mechanical repairs, they must be doing something on my car because I'm definitely driving a lot better with the braking and stuff this year. And of course, Lockie's at the actually with JCW, and JCW right now having dinner, bloody going to the Formula One this weekend. So it's unlucky for some, eh?
Yeah. It's good life for some of them out there.
Yeah, no, but either way, his charity of Tears Tourette's, and of course Brendan Henderson hasn't been here for a couple of races, but he's his charity of Australia Alopecia, and of course Murphy's Modded 10 and Moondog.
Great stuff, and I can attest Mobile Brake and Mechanical, they've kept my Ford Focus running, so they do something right for sure. Thank you so much, Ruben. Congratulations on a very, very well-deserved victory tonight, and doing it in style at 200 here at Richmond.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm sure we'll catch you back in the booth soon. You know the entry, you know how to get in here. Hopefully it will be another victory next to your name, though.
Yeah, tomorrow we'll do our best.
Good luck, Ruben. Thank you so much, and see you again soon.
Yeah, cheers.
Ruben Phelps there for SRM taking the victory here tonight in his 200th start. That is a very, very nice way to celebrate that stat.
Yeah, it definitely is a great way to bring up your 200th start with a win. I know there's a few other people throughout the league that would like to have been able to do that.
Absolutely. Usually on those anniversary dates, it all goes wrong. I think Stevie Dub was our last one that had a good anniversary and got a good result out of it. I think it was his 400th for him. But it was a great run for Ruben. He's been having some really strong finishes recently, and he's deserved that victory tonight, beating Jason Martin here at Richmond. Of course, we have more action for you here at Richmond. It's going to be the Cup cars tomorrow night, the big cars indeed. Very different car, very different way of driving it, and very different sort of little bit of racing with the ability to change the setup as you go into the race. So that's going to change things up for sure. That could add for some entertainment here tomorrow night on Performance eStreaming. Of course, same place, same time. But from myself, Mr. Carl Wilkinson, with him, Mr. Mark Johansson, and of course, Mr. Matty Hunter, we will wish you all a good night, and we will see you hopefully tomorrow night here on Performance eStreaming. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.